My married boss always left early on Fridays, claiming family time. But one evening, I saw him at a bar, holding hands with our intern. I took a photo and showed it to my colleague, who whispered, "That's not even the first one." Furious, I sent an anonymous email to his wife, including proof. The next Monday, he walked into work to find his desk cleared out and a note that read, "Enjoy your permanent early leave." But that wasn't even the worst part. So I, 35 female, work at a mid-sized marketing company in downtown Chicago, right near the Loop. I've been there for about 6 years. I like my job. It pays well, I've got a solid team, and for the most part, the office is chill. But then there's Mark. Mark, let's say mid-40s, is the cool boss. He's been the director of marketing for a while. Married. Talks about his 2 kids. Always cracking jokes, walking around the office like he owns the place. I mean, he kinda does, in his mind. He likes to show off pictures of his kids. Loves to tell stories about how his wife bakes the best brownies and how family dinners are sacred in their house. Every Friday around 3 p.m., he leaves. Without fail. He always says the same thing when he grabs his coat, "All right folks, family time. See y'all Monday." No one questioned it. I mean, some of us joked about how nice it must be to leave early every week while the rest of us grind till 5:30, but whatever. Not a big deal. A few months ago, we got a new intern, Jessica. She's 23, just graduated from Northwestern, and clearly trying hard to make an impression. Not a bad thing. She's smart, driven, dressed well, always on time. She caught people's attention, including Mark's. He started mentoring her. Not officially, but in a very obvious "I'm your special helper" kind of way. He'd give her these one-on-one meetings that no other intern got. She was on projects she had no business being on as a newbie. Some of us noticed. We talked about it a little during lunch or after hours, but no one wanted to stir anything. Now here's where things flipped. It was a random Friday in early November. Cold, windy, typical Chicago weather. I had a crap day. I missed a client call, my lunch got stolen from the fridge, again, and I had a splitting headache. I needed a drink, badly. So I went to this bar in River North. I usually don't go out alone, but that night I made an exception. I walked in, grabbed a booth in the back, and ordered my usual whiskey sour. I was maybe 20 minutes in, starting to unwind, when I saw someone familiar at the far side of the bar. It was Mark. Except he wasn't with his wife. He wasn't with clients. He was with Jessica. I froze for a second. They were sitting close, really close. And they weren't talking like coworkers. They were smiling in that "you're the only person in the room" kind of way. Then he reached for her hand. She didn't pull back. He was holding her hand across the table. And just like that, I knew. This wasn't mentoring. This wasn't innocent. This was something else. I didn't want to believe it at first, but I took my phone out and snapped a photo. Not because I had a plan, but because I needed proof of what I saw. I don't even know why I felt like I had to. Maybe I didn't trust my own eyes. I sat there watching them for another few minutes. No kisses, but they were definitely on a date. There was a comfort between them. A familiarity. He was looking at her the way I'd seen people look at their partners, not their interns. I left without saying anything. That weekend, I kept looking at the photo. I zoomed in. I played it over and over in my head. He said he left early every Friday for family time. This was his family time? Monday morning, I walked into work and everything was normal, too normal. Mark was in his office like nothing happened. Jessica came in with her usual iced coffee, smiling. I showed the photo to my closest coworker, someone I'll call Tara. She looked at it and sighed. Then she leaned in and whispered, "That's not even the first one." I just stared at her. "What do you mean?" She looked uncomfortable. "He's done this before. Different in turn. Couple years ago." She left suddenly and no one said anything. And just like that, the whole situation shifted. This wasn't just one bad decision. This was a pattern. This was something he'd been doing under everyone's nose. Acting like the loving husband, the doting father. But also the guy grooming interns on the side. I was sick to my stomach. I couldn't shake the image of him holding Jessica's hand while talking about family values in the office. I sat on it for a day. Then another. But I couldn't let it go. Tuesday night, I made a fake Gmail. I wrote a short message. I didn't include my name. I just said, "You deserve to know. This photo was taken Friday night at bar name. That's your husband with the intern." I attached the photo. I sent it to his wife. Her email was easy to find online, she runs a baking blog, ironically. And I waited. I didn't hear anything for the rest of the week. Mark was still acting normal. Jessica was still laughing at his dumb jokes. But then Monday rolled around. Everything changed. Monday morning. Something was off. The energy in the office was weird. Not just quiet, we've had quiet mornings before. This was different. Uneasy. Heavy. You know when people are trying to act normal, but they're clearly watching something unfold? Yeah. That. I got to my desk, fired up my computer, and before I could even open my inbox, I noticed something. Mark's door was closed. Now, that never happens. Mark loves keeping his office door open. He wants to be approachable. Wants everyone to know he's chill. But now? Door shut. Blinds pulled. And his light was off. Strange. About an hour later, HR shows up. Our HR lead, Dana, walks in with two other people I'd never seen before. Some outside legal team, maybe? They didn't even look around. Went straight into the conference room. No one said anything, but we were all watching. The whole floor felt frozen. Then someone whispered it. He's been called in. And sure enough, 10 minutes later, Mark walks out of his office looking like a ghost. Pale, sweating, lips tight. No smile. No jokes. Just silence. He walks into the conference room, shuts the door behind him. Nobody moved. We just stared at our screens, pretending to work. The meeting lasted about 45 minutes. When he came out, his tie was loose and his face looked like he hadn't slept in days. He didn't even go back to his office. He walked straight to his desk, opened his drawer, grabbed his personal things, photos, chargers, one of those dumb world's best dad mugs, and left. No goodbye. No eye contact. On his desk, someone found a folded piece of paper. It said, in thick marker, "Enjoy your permanent early leave." That's when the rumors exploded. People were saying he got served with divorce papers that morning. That his wife showed up at his house with the photo and a suitcase. That she'd known for a while, and this was just the final nail. Some said she'd already hired a lawyer. But here's where it got really messed up. Later that afternoon, Jessica didn't come back from lunch. She just didn't return. Her badge was deactivated by 4 p.m. Her nameplate was gone the next morning. We thought maybe she was fired too. That it was a clean sweep. But then Tara, my coworker, pulled me aside with a weird look. "You're not going to believe this," she said. "My cousin's boyfriend works in IT. He saw something. Apparently, Jessica wasn't fired. She quit. But not just because of the scandal. She found out someone had been snooping through her emails. Not corporate. Someone else." That's when I felt my stomach turn. Did I cover my tracks? I used a fake Gmail. I never logged in on work Wi-Fi. I never mentioned the bar in Slack. But suddenly, I didn't feel so invisible. Tara leaned in again and said, she told someone she thinks it was another woman in the office. She was crying. Said she got betrayed. I stayed quiet. And then came the second twist. 2 days later, an email got sent to the entire marketing department from a weird address. Subject line, "Ask HR why your bonuses are gone." Inside the email was a forwarded thread. Internal. Confidential. Between Mark and the CFO. It showed that, weeks before all of this, Mark had recommended slashing the end-of-year team bonuses to reallocate budget for consulting expenses. The consulting expenses? Jessica's department. He was literally stealing our bonuses to fund her special projects. The office exploded. People were yelling in the break room. Managers were running around. Dana from HR looked like she was about to pass out. By Friday, a full audit was launched. Senior management started doing one-on-one interviews. People were told not to discuss ongoing internal matters. But that didn't stop anyone. Whispers filled every hallway. People started digging up everything. Old interns. Deleted Slack messages. A company-sponsored trip to New York last year where Jessica just happened to get invited even though she was still in school at the time. It was a pattern. A long one. And somehow, no one stopped it. Or maybe, no one wanted to. That Friday, I went home and found a letter in my mailbox. No stamp. No return address. Just my name. Inside was a printed screenshot. It was my anonymous email to Mark's wife. And one sentence, typed in all caps, hope it was worth it. I haven't told anyone yet. I don't know who sent it. I don't know how they found me. But someone knows. And something tells me. This isn't over. That envelope messed with my head more than I expected. I barely slept that weekend. Every sound outside my apartment made me jump. I live alone in a quiet place just off Southport, and suddenly it didn't feel quiet anymore. I double-checked all the locks. I even taped a sticky note over my laptop webcam. Stupid, I know. But it wasn't the letter itself that scared me, it was what it meant. Someone knew. Someone figured out it was me who sent the email to Mark's wife. I didn't sign my name. I didn't use my work email. I thought I covered every track. But the letter wasn't just proof they knew. It was a warning. By Monday, I was on edge. I came into the office earlier than usual to avoid walking in with anyone. The place was nearly empty. I sat down, opened my inbox, and there it was. A new message. Subject, we need to talk. Not HR. No name. Just a Proton mail address. The message was short. You think you know what's going on, but you really don't. Mark wasn't acting alone. The rabbit hole's deeper than you think. Meet me today at 6 p.m. Same bar. Come alone. I stared at it for 5 minutes straight. Was this a prank? Or was this the next part of whatever the hell I'd stumbled into? I went back and forth. My gut said don't go. But curiosity? It said, what if they're right? So I went. 6 p.m. River North. Same bar where it all started. I grabbed a booth in the back and waited. I kept checking every person who walked through the door. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Then, he walked in. Not Mark. It was a guy I barely knew, Kevin, one of the guys from finance. Quiet type. Always had headphones in. Never joined the after-work hangouts. We'd maybe spoken twice, ever. He slid into the booth and didn't waste time. You're not wrong about Mark, he said. But he didn't just break the rules. He built a whole system around it. My head tilted. What do you mean? He leaned in. Jessica wasn't the only one. She was just the most recent. This has been going on for years. And not just with interns. He told me about a quiet payout last year. Another employee, let's call her Dana, not the HR Dana, who left suddenly. According to Kevin, she had screenshots, texts, proof of something way worse than flirting or hand-holding. She threatened to go public. Instead, she signed an NDA and left with a payout so big, accounting had to fudge budget lines for months to cover it. Then he dropped this, it was approved by senior leadership. Mark had dirt on someone else higher up. That's why no one stopped him. I sat back, stunned. This wasn't just an affair. It was a loop. A system. Blackmail. Cover-ups. Kevin wasn't done. I'm telling you this because you blew it open, he said. You started something, and now people are watching. Be careful. And don't trust Tara. I blinked. What? He stood up. Tossed some cash on the table. You didn't hear it from me. And he walked out. I sat there alone, replaying every conversation I'd had with Tara, my friend at work. She'd been the one to say, that's not the first one. She'd told me about the other intern. She told me Jessica felt betrayed. She knew about the letter before I told anyone. My skin went cold. Had she set me up? The next morning, I watched her differently. She smiled at me, like always. Gave me the usual Ugh Mondays eye roll. But something was off. Later, I checked my desk drawer. A folder I kept there, just boring stuff like passwords and receipts, had been moved. Nothing missing, but it wasn't how I left it. Paranoia? Maybe. Or maybe someone was looking for something. At lunch, I told IT my laptop was acting sluggish and asked for a diagnostic check. They found something. A remote access script. Installed 2 weeks ago. When I asked who had admin rights to my machine, the list was short. Standard IT accounts. And one other. Tara's. I haven't confronted her. Not yet. But the walls are closing in, and I'm not sure who's watching me anymore, or why. After the remote access script was found on my laptop, everything shifted. I stopped speaking to Tara. I didn't accuse her, yet. I needed more. If she was really the one who exposed me after encouraging me to leak the photo, I had to be sure. If she'd been feeding info to someone else, maybe even Mark himself, then I wasn't just caught in an office scandal, I was in the middle of something bigger. Kevin stopped showing up to work after our meeting at the bar. Just gone. No resignation email. No warning. Just gone. HR said personal leave. But no one believed that. That week, our company held a quarterly all-hands meeting. Normally boring. Corporate updates, goals, the usual fluff. This time, everyone was tense. We knew this wasn't just about numbers. The CFO got up. PR team sat on edge. HR looked ready to run. But the bombshell wasn't in the presentation. It was Jessica. Halfway through, just as the CEO was mumbling about rebuilding culture, Jessica walked into the room. She wasn't supposed to be there. She hadn't worked there in weeks. She stood near the front, lifted her phone, and said, loud and clear, "If no one's going to tell the truth, I will." The room fell dead silent. Everyone turned. Even the CEO froze. "I didn't sleep with Mark for a promotion," she said. "I was manipulated. He told me I was special. That he was separated. That HR had it out for me and I needed him to survive here." She turned to the CEO. "He used your name to scare me into silence. Said you backed him? That if I talked, I'd be blacklisted in the industry." People gasped. Some looked down. A few managers stood up, trying to escort her out. But she kept going. "And I know about the payout last year. I've seen the numbers. Ask Dana from HR. She covered it. She's still covering it." Dana stood, flustered. "That's enough, Jessica." Jessica didn't budge. She was shaking but steady. "Someone here sent the truth to his wife. That person is probably scared right now. Probably being watched. But whoever you are, thank you. You saved me." The room erupted. Some people clapped. Others just sat in shock. I didn't move. I couldn't. Tara was 2 rows in front of me. She didn't clap. She just sat there with her jaw tight, eyes burning a hole in the floor. After security finally escorted Jessica out, gently, like they didn't even want to stop her, the CEO promised a full investigation. Said words like accountability and safety and transparency. It didn't matter anymore. Later that day, I confronted Tara. We met in the break room. Alone. "You put the script on my laptop," I said. "No question. Just a statement." She didn't deny it. Her voice was low. "I told Mark someone might have leaked the photo. He was panicking. Said he'd lose everything. I didn't know he'd come after you." "You told him?" She looked up at me, eyes filled with guilt, but also something else. "Fear?" "He said I owed him. That he covered for me once. Years ago." I stepped back. "Owed him for what?" She didn't answer. She just walked out. She resigned the next morning. Her desk was cleaned out before lunch. No goodbye. No explanation. In the days that followed, everything unraveled. Mark's name was wiped from the company website. An anonymous report confirmed he'd been taking questionable liberties with multiple junior staff members. The company tried to spin it as unfortunate individual actions rather than the systemic failure it was. Jessica didn't come back. But she did a podcast interview a few weeks later, told her full story. She never mentioned me by name, but I heard what she said. Someone in that office refused to stay silent. "Whoever you are, thank you for not letting him get away with it again." That part hit me the hardest. Not the drama. Not the office gossip. Not even the letter in my mailbox. That line. For weeks, I'd been scared. Guilty. Wondering if I'd done the wrong thing by stepping in. By exposing something that didn't directly involve me. But hearing her say that? It gave me a kind of peace I didn't expect. Mark? Last I heard, he moved to a different city. Rumors say he's trying to start his own consulting agency. But the scandal follows him. People talk. People remember. As for me, I'm still at the company. Barely. Things aren't the same. Leadership's changed. HR got cleaned out. They offer more wellness programs now, more training. But the trust? That's harder to rebuild. Sometimes I sit at my desk and look out at the Chicago skyline, wondering how close I came to being the next victim. How close I came to letting it slide. And how close I came to losing everything for doing the right thing. Do I regret it? No. Would I do it again? Also no. It cost me too much. But it taught me something: silence keeps people like Mark in power. And someone, somewhere, has to break it. I still don't know who sent that letter. I still check over my shoulder sometimes. But I sleep a little better now. Not much. But enough. And maybe that's all we can hope for.